for us and continues to support one another today. As members of the military, our job isn't always easy.
Sometimes we're asked to help bring peace to countries during conflicts. Sometimes we teach what we know to our allies so they can protect themselves against danger. And sometimes we bring people to safety, deliver supplies like food and medicine, and help clean up after wildfires, hurricanes, and ice storms here at home.
It takes a lot of courage and strength to do our job, but it's who we are. Outside our borders, our world can be dangerous, but it's our responsibility to help others in need. We know it will be hard work, and we do it because we want to create a better world for ourselves and for future generations.
We're the latest generation working to keep our country safe and free. You may even know someone who is part of the larger military family, like parents and grandparents who fought or continue to fight to protect the things that matter the most. What helps us through these tough situations are the special bonds and friendships that we share. We are a family, we work as one team. We encourage and support each other to complete every mission, regardless of which chain of command we belong to: Army, Navy, Air Force, or Special Forces.
I am proud to be one of the many members of my military family speaking to you about why Remembrance Day is important. On November 11th, we honor the stories and the memories of those who used to serve. They are Canada's veterans, and they can be found in every generation. Their service is the reason why Canada has been a leader in keeping the peace around the world.
Did you know that Canada has sent more than 100,000 forces members to participate in 66 United Nations peacekeeping missions in the last 75 years? No matter where we're needed, from coast to coast, at home, or beyond our shores, dedicated Canadian Armed Forces members are ready to help, just as our veterans did. That's the link that ties today's members to those who came before us. We are all part of one Canadian military team.
So during Veterans Week, make sure you wear a poppy over your heart. Attend a Remembrance Day ceremony. Take a moment to thank a veteran. Listen to their stories and share those stories with others. Let's keep our promise to remember their bravery, their sacrifices, and their determination to make the world a safer place for everyone.
Staff, students, and honored guests. My name is Bryn Nowitzki. I am a grade 11 student at Sir Wilfrid Laurier Secondary School. Good morning and welcome to our school's Remembrance Day ceremony. If you have not done so already, please turn off all electronic devices. Every year, on November 11th, Canadians pause to remember. On November 11th, 1918, the guns fell silent to mark the end of the Great War. The 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month was chosen so that no one would ever forget the sacrifice. Many who fought for Canada were our age. Their plans for the future were as bright as ours. They attended school, played sports, and enjoyed the company of their friends. They served in the Boer War, in World Wars I and II, in the Korean War, in Afghanistan, and many other combat and peacekeeping operations. Over 100,000 Canadians never returned home from these conflicts. Many are still buried far from home. During this ceremony, we will remember those who left their homes, friends, and loved ones to fight for our freedom. We will especially honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jordan Pemberton. I'm a grade 10 student at Sir Wilfrid Laurier Secondary School. I would like to share the story of Major John McCrae, the Canadian who wrote In Flanders Fields. He was born in Guelph, Ontario, and became an officer in the Canadian Medical Corps. His best friend, Alexis Helmer, lived in Ottawa and attended Lisgar Collegiate. The two men served together in South Africa during the Boer War and in Belgium during the Great War. Sadly, Alexis was killed by an artillery shell during the Second Battle of Ypres in 1915. Major McCrae wrote In Flanders Fields after performing a burial service for his friend. His simple poem became a universal tribute to those who made the supreme sacrifice in the line of duty. Major McCrae died of pneumonia in 1918 and was buried with full military honors at Wimereux Cemetery in France. At the funeral procession, his horse Bonfire wore his master's boots backwards in military tradition. John McCrae is remembered as a person with the eye of a gunner, the hand of a surgeon, and the soul of a poet. Bryn will now give a reading of his famous poem.
Thank you, Jordan. In Flanders Fields by John McCrae. In Flanders Fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below, we are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields.
Bryn, thank you very much for your heartfelt reading. We will now lay ceremonial wreaths on behalf of the student body. We invite you to listen to Canada's first national anthem, The Maple Leaf Forever, played by Piper, Mr. Jim Forbes. Mr. Forbes?
Today in Canada, we enjoy freedoms and privileges that are truly remarkable. We can travel, spend time with friends and family, play sports, watch movies, play video games, go to school, almost anything imaginable. Canada is one of the happiest countries on earth, and it has one of the highest qualities of life in the world. Sadly, in many other countries around the globe, people are not as fortunate. Some kids cannot go to school. There are some places with no internet and little access to anything fun at all. In Canada, we have so much to be thankful for. These freedoms, which we enjoy every day, but many others do not have, were not granted by accident. On several occasions in the last century, Canadian military left our country for overseas to defend our values and freedoms. Most notably, this occurred during the First World War in 1914 to 1918, the Second World War in 1939 to 1945, and the Korean War, 1950 to 1953. In addition, Canadian military has participated in many operations and campaigns since then as a founding member of the United Nations and as a member of several freedom-preserving alliances in order to defend Canadian freedoms and work toward achieving global peace. Many Canadian military and their families have made great sacrifices in these events so that we can be here today, enjoying all the beautiful things that Canada has to offer. We should be very thankful. On 11 November, it is important to reflect on these sacrifices and remember the Canadian military who gave up so much so that we could have all the things that we have today. So on that day, I ask that you consider wearing a poppy as a sign of respect. At 11 o'clock, I ask that we join the moment of silence and quietly thank these brave men and women. I ask that if you see a veteran, to thank them for their service. And finally, I ask that as time marches on, we do not forget them. Indeed, lest we forget.
We now invite you to listen to Amazing Grace, a musical selection by the Sir Will Concert Band, directed by Miss Shrum. Miss Shrum?
Thank you, Ms. Shrum. On November 11th, 1918, the guns fell silent to mark the end of the Great War. It's a Canadian tradition to be silent for 2 minutes, a pittance of time, on Remembrance Day. Please give your attention as we observe a musical tribute by Terence Kelly to that tradition.
Good morning, shoppers. At 11 o'clock on this 11th day of November, we'd like to invite you to share with us 2 minutes of silence in honor of our veterans.
They fought and some died for their homeland. They fought and some died, now it's our land. Look at his little child, there's no fear in her eyes. Could he not show respect for other dads who have died? Take 2 minutes, would you mind? It's a pittance of time for the boys and the girls who went over. In peace may they rest, may we never forget why they died. It's a pittance of time. God forgive me for wanting to strike him. Give me strength so as not to be like him. My heart pounds in my breast, fingers pressed to my lips. My throat wants to bawl out, my tongue barely resists. But 2 minutes I will bide. It's a pittance of time for the boys and the girls who went over. In peace may they rest, may we never forget why they died. It's a pittance of time. Read the letters and poems of the heroes at home. They have casualties, battles, and fears of their own. There's a price to be paid if you go, if you stay. Freedom's fought for and won in numerous ways. Take 2 minutes, would you mind? It's a pittance of time for the boys and the girls all over. May we never forget our young become vets at the end of the line. It's a pittance of time. It takes courage to fight in your own war. It takes courage to fight someone else's war. Our peacekeepers tell of their own living hell. They bring hope to foreign lands that hate mongers can't kill. Take 2 minutes, would you mind? It's a pittance of time for the boys and the girls who go over. In peacetime our best still don battle dress and lay their lives on the line. It's a pittance of time. In peace may they rest, lest we forget why they died. Take a pittance of time.
We will now hear the playing of the last post. Observe 2 minutes of silence and hear Flowers of the Forest, a lament played by Mr. Jim Forbes. We ask that you stand for the last post and remain silent for 2 minutes, a pittance of time until Mr. Forbes has finished playing. Please stand.
we ask that all Sirwell staff, students, and guests please be seated. We need to recognize our piper, Mr. Jim Forbes, from the Sons of Scotland and the Cameron Highlanders. He has been piping for the Sirwell Remembrance Day ceremony for 22 years, and he's an integral part of the school culture. The message from all current veteran and Canadian Armed Forces members is never forget, and we must listen to their wisdom.
Thanks to Ms. Shrum and the concert band for the superb performance of Amazing Grace. We thank Mr. Mornor who used his formidable time management skills to tape, edit, and create this presentation. Congratulations to all Sirwell students on your fine behavior this morning. You have been quiet, courteous, and respectful. Best wishes for continued success in the school year. We invite all staff and students to return to their educational activities. Thank you and have a great day.